When dealing with a child who is angry and out of control, staying calm yourself can be the biggest challenge you face.
You've got to be kidding me.
Absolutely not. There's no way you're taking the car out next Friday night. Not when you come home an hour late.
Your midnight curfew is so lame. None of my other friends have to be home by 12. You know, living in this house is like being in a prison.
Well, you live in this house. You follow our rules.
Jeez, I hate your rules and I hate you. God, I can't wait to get out of this house.
Don't talk to your mother that way. Shut that smart mouth of yours.
It's unsettling to think, you know, someone I love is defying me, is arguing and talking back to me.
In stressful situations, we're much more likely to rely on the patterns of behavior that we've learned years prior to this.
We don't automatically think we should be calm. We automatically think we should react to the situation.
It's not enough to have good intentions. You know, nobody intends to get mad and yell at their kids or do things they wish they hadn't.
Common sense parenting gives parents a kind of a little blueprint, a step-by-step way to enhance their skills.
3 very simple but very meaningful steps. Just identify, what do your kids do that get you upset? You know, what are those buttons that they push?
What is it that my child does that makes me want to reach out and touch somebody and I don't mean a phone call? I mean, you know, what is it that my kid is doing that's really making me angry?
Think about what it is you start doing when you get upset. You know, some people, their heart starts to race.
My jaw muscles get tight, or I clench my fist.
My ears are burning, I have the hair on the back of my neck standing up, whatever the case may be.
Because then you can recognize, oh, I'm getting upset, and then you can choose to change your behavior at that point.
Then the next thing that they'll want to do is decide what can help me to calm down. We all have different little techniques that help us to calm down. For me, it's doing crossword puzzles. For my husband, it's vacuuming and cleaning. So we make him mad on purpose, not kidding.
If you work out a plan, you write it down, you share it with someone else, you're much more likely to actually implement that and do it when the occasion arises.
And we can attack the problem rather than each other.
Donnie's finally home. That kid is not getting the car. He needs to learn to be responsible.
Wait, George, let's take a few minutes to calm down, okay? You know how he flies off the handle when we talk about a curfew. Why don't we take a deep breath like we decided?
All right. We better talk to him.
Parents came to us and said, you know, Ray, these skills are real nice, but when my kid's misbehaving and he's pushed my buttons, it doesn't matter how many steps you give us. I'm still upset about it and pretty mad with him and not real likely to use those steps. Said, I got to learn how to stay calm in those situations or it's not going to matter.
It can be tough to stay calm when your child loses control in a public place.
No, Tiffany, we've got to get going and pick your brother up from soccer practice.
But, Mommy, I want that CD!
I already told you no, Tiffany. Now that's enough. Be quiet and get in the car.
No! You're so mean. You always say no.
That's enough, young lady. Now you better get your butt in the car or else.
Daddy will get it for me. You're so mean.
Don't make me tell you one more time to be quiet. I mean it.
No, you're not the boss of me.
Kids are impulsive, and so they're reacting to something that they want.
The interaction between parent and child in those situations are reactions. They're not thoughtful responses.
The worst thing that can happen to any parent is they're in a physical confrontation with their child, that they have to feel they have to put their hands on their children.
That's why it's so critical for us to give ourselves and our child a chance to calm down, take time to think about what we're going to do, and then come back together and talk about how can we solve this problem.
Tiffany, I want you to stop whining and asking for that CD. Come here, please.
We want to introduce the thought process into that situation so that we're able to say things that will actually help solve the problem rather than harm the relationship.
It's very important that parents learn to control their emotions. No matter what your child does, You have to be the one who stays in control to bring them back to a place of being calm.
It's far less draining if we're calm than if we're arguing and yelling back at our kids. We get emotionally spent in those situations.
After you have developed your own plan for staying calm, it's wise to help your child develop one as well.
Tiffany, I want to talk to you about something. You know how sometimes you ask for something and I tell you no and you get upset? How do you feel when that happens?
Well, I guess I get mad and feel kind of hot.
That's right. And sometimes you start yelling at me too. Now, in the future, when I tell you no and you start to feel mad, take a deep breath and pretend to blow out your candle. This will help you calm down and we can talk quietly about why I said no.
Practicing it ahead of time. That goes back to, again, in the heat of the moment, unless you've done it and said it, ahead of time, you're not likely to use it.
Let's try practicing that again, okay?
If you watch your child's behavior, you can see where they're maybe having a problem. And so then you think about what do they need to learn to do instead, and then you teach that to them intentionally. You take opportunities to teach them how to do that. Then you watch for when they do it well, and you praise them, and then you watch for when they don't do it so well, and you correct them.
Great job, honey. Just try and remember to do that next time you're feeling upset. Are you ready to go? Let's go pick up your brother.
Remember that you must model to your child how to stay calm even when you are upset. Take a deep breath, leave the room, go for a walk, do anything that reminds you to slow down so you can effectively deal with your out-of-control child. And after you and your child have practiced your staying calm plans, you can move on to learning and using the common sense parenting skill of teaching self-control with your child when he or she does get angry or upset, throws a temper tantrum, or refuses to follow your instructions.
There are really 2 steps that we want to follow, and then some sub-steps under each one of those. But the first thing we want to do is give ourselves and our child a chance to calm down.
Describe to the child what they're doing that is out of control, that they're screaming, they're yelling, they're refusing to cooperate. Then the next thing you're going to do is give them some options to try to calm down, like taking a deep breath, counting to 10, going to their room, writing in their journal. Next thing you're going to do is allow them that time. You can say to them, okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to try to calm yourself down. I'll be back to check on you.
But Mommy, why can't you get it for me? You're so mean.
I'm sorry, Tiffany, but you're arguing and talking back to me. Please get into the car and take a couple of deep breaths to calm down like we talked about before.
When the situation first starts, everything you do as a parent is aimed at getting the kid calmed down. It's not aimed at teaching, it's not aimed at giving consequences, it's aimed at calming the kid down. And the second part then is the follow-up, and that is after the child and you are both calm, then you come back and you do follow-up teaching. And basically that's teaching the child what they should do the next time when they get that upset.
Okay, now calm down and buckle your seatbelt.
You don't teach in the midst of the bad behavior. You wait till everybody's calm, and then you go back and teach.
Tiffany, remember how we talked about what you could do when I tell you no and you start to get mad? I want you to take deep breaths and blow out your pretend candles whenever you feel hot and angry.
Okay, I'll blow out my birthday cake candles when I'm mad.
Good, Tiffany. Why don't we both try doing that together now, okay?
That's what you'll do in that follow-up teaching. You'll practice what they should do the next time. And then, of course, they'll get a consequence.
You know, you broke our rule about having temper tantrums, so when we get home, instead of running over to Megan's to play, I want you to help me put away the groceries and set the table for dinner. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay.
And you always want to make sure that you do the follow-up, because if you don't, kids still haven't learned. Act as a teacher. Okay, Johnny, this is what happened. This is what needs to happen next time. Now let's practice that. And you know what? Here's a small consequence because, you did get a little upset. It just needs to be consistent and be there every time, so that as a kid, I learn that if I lose it and I get really mad and yell and scream or whatever, there's going to be a consequence for that. It's always going to be there.
A child does not have to yell or scream to be out of control. Sometimes children are silent, but just as angry, refusing to talk to you or follow your instructions. Parents can use teaching self-control in these situations as well.
Jamal's teacher sent this note. He's not only failing math class, but she says he's being disruptive in class too.
What else can go wrong today? I don't need this. Okay, where is he?
In the living room, playing video games with Tanner. Oh, why don't you take a minute to calm down? I'll ask Tanner to leave. Then we'll go in and talk to Jamal together. Okay?
You're right. I need to calm down. Let me go get a glass of water. Jamal, turn the video game off. I want to talk to you about this note from your teacher. Jamal, please turn that video game off and do what I ask you. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to do it.
Jamal, you're ignoring and refusing to talk to us. Now we need you to take a minute and calm down. Just take a deep breath. We'll be back to see if you're ready to discuss this with us, but no TV or video games until we give you permission.
When children are upset and they need a break away from their parents, it's a good thing that parents give them that space. But you also want to make sure that they're safe. You want to check on them frequently. You don't have to talk to them if they don't feel like talking at that time. Just say, "Are you okay? Are you ready to talk to me?" If they say no, then go ahead and live your life and then come back and check on them in the next few minutes.
Jamal, are you ready to talk about refusing to do what we ask you to do?
Jamal, remember we talked about how when you got upset, you should go to your room and write in your journal about how you're feeling? I think you need to do that right now.
Give them some options. So you might ask them to either sit down on the couch and calm down, or they can go to the room and calm down, or take a walk and calm down, depending on the situation and the age of the child.
And we give options instead of demands, because kids aren't going to follow demands at this point. So, you say things like, how about you go to your room, or why don't you try just sitting down here a minute and taking some deep breath. It could take 5 minutes. Oh, yeah, you're right, Mom. Or it can take a half hour, or it can take a long time.
Are you feeling better now?
Yeah, I suppose so. But you guys need to know about Mrs. Taylor's and her math test. They're so unfair.
Now, wait a minute, Jamal.
Parents sometimes get sucked into the sidetrack argument cycle, power struggle with kids. That you need to stay away from that at all costs.
It's tough to focus on our own behavior. What did we do wrong in that situation, and what can I do differently in the future?
Of course, parents want to debate those facts or those issues or those concerns that kids give us, but that's not the time to talk about it. When kids are calm, then we can talk about their concerns.
First, I want to thank you for calming down and writing about your feelings. Next time you get upset, I want you to take a deep breath. Show me how you do that. Now, because you were angry and disobeyed us earlier, you're not going to be able to play video games tomorrow. Do you understand that?
Now, let's talk about this note from school.
Consequences need to be a consistent part of a teaching tool. They're not the only thing we use. In fact, they're the smallest part of our teaching tools, but they are an important part because they help us to help children understand what we're teaching them, the importance of what we're teaching them.
What?
You're late again, Donnie. This has to stop. You need to understand that you will not be getting the car this Friday night.
What? Will you guys please stop trying to run my life? I'm not 10 years old anymore. God, you guys are just like the cops. You know, none of my other friends had to put up with such stupid rules.
Donnie, you're yelling and you're screaming, and we cannot talk to you until you calm down.
It's a reaction. And so what ends up happening is that those patterns become established. And in many cases, if you're talking about a 15-year-old, 15 years worth of patterns have been established. So you're going to have to invest a lot of time to help establish different interaction patterns with that child. And yes, it takes some time, although if you're consistent with it and very thoughtful in your efforts, in far less time than one might think, that child will begin responding in ways that are going to be helpful for you, for him or her, and the family as a whole.
Please take time to think and cool down.
Just tell me why I have to be at home at 12 o'clock when the rest of my friends don't.
That is not the issue now. You need to calm down.
Just take a deep breath and relax, okay?
Fine. I guess all we do is follow your rules around here, don't we?
Donnie, when you can talk quietly, please come back.
Parents and kids get engaged in this dance where they're going back and forth, and it just increases the level of intensity of those responses. If we stay in that situation, very often we say and do things that both we and our child regrets. And that's why it's so critical for us to give ourselves and our child a chance to calm down, take time to think about what we're going to do, and then come back together and talk about how can we solve this problem.
Okay. I'm ready to talk now.
Well, your mom and I appreciate the fact that you've got a grip on your behavior.
Now, honey, if you feel yourself getting angry, just take a deep breath and ask for some more time to calm down if you need it.
Lots of times when things get calm in the house and the child is cooperating more, parents don't follow up and teach to that. They think, okay, he's being quiet, I'm gonna leave that alone. But no, that is the time to teach. Now that your child is calm, now we should teach.
All right, now, Donnie, by getting so upset and yelling at us, when we told you that you couldn't have the car, you clearly broke our rule about staying calm. So because you lost your temper, you cannot go out at all on Friday night.
But Mom, all I did was try to explain myself.
Donnie, maybe this would be a good time to take that deep breath that we talked about. In fact, why don't we all take one?
Sometimes out-of-control situations can happen between siblings. When this happens, parents should focus on separating the children, keeping them safe, and calming everyone down.
Kathy, Mom says it's time for dinner.
What are you doing in here, you twerp? Get out. What are you doing?
My bollard under your bed.
Hey!
I gotta get it.
Stop! Nick, I mean it. Stop it! Hey, give that to me! Stop! Come here, quick! You little jerk! You little sneak! I told you never to come in here. Why are you going through my stuff? I don't go through your stuff. Stop it! Give it to me! Nick, Mom! Stop it! I'm gonna kill you! She's murdering me!
You need to, step in the middle of that and stop it right away. Parents often say, well, can't I just let them duke it out? And I'm like, well, no, because is that how you want them to go through life? No. And I said, well, if they knew a better way to do it, they would be doing the better way.
Mom! Stop it! Give it back to me! I need it!
Okay, stay calm. Stay calm.
Give it back to me!
Kathy and Nick, stop yelling and fighting with each other right now.
Mom, look what I found under Kathy's bed.
You probably put it there yourself, you little jerk. Mom, don't listen to him.
You want your home to be a safe place. And that's why we have what we call a safe home plan. And you want your kids to know that I'm always going to be safe at home, and no matter what happens, I can feel safe and nothing's going to harm me.
Okay. Do you remember our safe home plan? Nick, I want you to go to your bedroom and wait for me. I'll be there in a minute.
Okay.
When something emotionally intense occurs and someone is out of control, we have certain rules that we're going to follow. Everyone is going to go to a safe place. Everyone is going to respect each other and not get involved in the negative behavior. And when things are calm, then we can come back together as a family.
Okay, Kathy, we're going to talk about this later, but for now, I need you to take a 10-minute break here in your room to calm down. I'll be checking back with you in 10 minutes. Are you ready to talk yet?
Go away, I've got nothing to say.
I can see you're still upset. I'll check back with you soon.
Like I care.
When children are out of control and we put in a safe home rule, we do want to check on them and make sure they're okay.
You want to come in, ask them if they're ready. I always say if they throw something at you, they're not ready. But, you know, seriously, if you can give them a simple little instruction and they can do it, they're probably ready to talk with you. If not, then you might want to take some more time. And a simple little instruction could be, you know, why don't you come here and sit by me?
Once a child has calmed down, it's time to go to follow-up teaching.
Okay, are you ready to talk now?
Yeah.
I appreciate your calming down and being willing to talk. We can work out any problems we have if we both stay calm. Now, first, we need to talk about how you can stay cool when something upsets you. If you feel yourself getting angry at your brother or me, you need to ask for a short break so you can calm down. What would be a good way for you to ask me that?
Mom, I'm really upset. Can I take a break in my room now?
That's great, Kathy. Thank you.
Children learn by cause and effect. If this occurs, or if I do this behavior, then this will occur. So when parents don't use consequences, kids learn, well, if I do this behavior, nothing occurs.
Now, because you lost control and started fighting with your brother, you're going to have to stay off the computer for the rest of the day and give your brother whatever help he needs with his homework.
Okay.
Sometimes when children are out of control, they kind of hijack the household. So we want kids to know that, all right, we understand that you're having a difficult time, but that does not mean that you can be disrespectful to other members of the family.
And there's one more thing. You owe your brother an apology. He loves you. And so do I. I think you know deep down he did the right thing by calling me. Now, we're going to start from the beginning of all of this. We're going to talk about your drinking.
Even in the best of homes, you know, kids do things that we thought my kids will never do. So you've got to be prepared. And if you approach it like that I'm a teacher, it takes some of it's less personal, and it gives you a way to help your kids.
We don't want to give up on our kids at any point in time. It's going to be easier to help younger children turn their behavior around and behave more appropriately than it will be adolescents, for example. But that's because the adolescents have had many more years of practice. And so those patterns are more ingrained in how they interact with you as the parent.
Children and parents have to come together to understand, what does it mean when things kind of get too emotional, and what will my parents do, and what should I do to help myself during that time? Ahead of time would be the important key to this.
But it takes some work to kind of think ahead of time and think about what to teach your kids as opposed to just reacting to their behaviors.
They need to talk to their kids maybe at a family meeting about what is our staying calm rules? What am I going to do when you're out of control? What does that mean to the family? What should other children do when things are out of control?
Realize that in time, it's going to be better, but it's going to take some time to make that happen, and we need to be committed to making that happen for our sake and for our kids' sake.
The view that we take in Common Sense Parenting is that your job as a parent is to teach your kids, and you're teaching them to be the person that you want them to be.
Yes, no matter how bad things seem, you can fix those things if you have the right tools, such as Common Sense Parenting and love.
The first part of teaching self-control is to get your child to calm down. First, describe the problem behavior. Second, offer options to calm down. And third, allow time to calm down. Once your child is calm, it is time to do follow-up teaching. Describe the positive behavior your child should do the next time to stay calm. Then, practice how to remain calm if your child starts feeling upset in the future. Finally, give a negative consequence to the child for the tantrum or refusal to cooperate. You will need a lot of patience if your child has temper tantrums, gets easily upset, or refuses to cooperate with you. The skill of teaching self-control can help you break the painful cycle of anger and power struggles. Look for small changes over time. Your child should have fewer angry outbursts. The outbursts won't last as long, or they won't have the same intensity they once had. When tension in the family is highest, teaching self-control gives you a constructive way to get problems resolved. If you have an immediate need or crisis situation, feel free to call our 24-hour crisis line. It's toll-free, and there's always someone available to help.